Better?
Okay, yeah. So I actually now set up my second screen so I can see my return
All right.
traffic. Still not sure why you're coming over so quietly, but just flag me if I go too fast. All right, so I'm just going to start the show over again. So I'm going to come over here to my screen setup, minimize me, make it all about the screen. All right, so starting back to where I started before. We're in here, we do a quick search. And again, for you, because you're not MLS yet, and you may never be, yesterday's batch leads training might be the appropriate one. And we should probably talk later today, kind of reorient where you're at, make sure you have everything you need. But so for those in the Flex MLS system, meaning the Scranton board and related boards, this is a training. If you're in a market or getting into a market where it's some other board like, what's it called, Bright MLS, the buttons are different places. It works differently, but the general idea is the same. We can cover that for them. I don't think I have anybody down there yet. So I always search all boards. And as I said, we're starting over. So in our area, it's stupid. There's Greater Scranton board, which is basically Lackawanna County. There's Lackawanna County board, which is, Luzerne County board, which is Luzerne County. There's a Wayne Pike board. There's a this board. There's like 6 boards in this 150 or 100 mile radius. It's stupid. So I always select all boards. I select the type of property I'm looking for. And then I like to select my status. What am I looking for? Am I looking for a buyer? Therefore, I'm looking for active. I might also look for expired for a buyer. Am I looking to run comps? Therefore, I'm looking for closed. Am I looking to see what I can snag for listings that come up in the expired list? I'm looking for expired. Fine. Make your choices that way. And then you make your choice based on, go back to the map. Come on, gerbils. And then you draw a shape. Where am I looking? Boom. All right, fine. Now it's going to show me all boards, residential, active. We'll just go with that for now. And that may be the end of what you're doing. You may be like, hey, I just want to send my client a circle. I already have a circle here, so I already know I have a circle. Fine. And then I look at things that are active. Within my circle. Boom. Then I can look at list. And I can set other search criteria, by the way. I can set bedrooms, bathrooms, other search criteria, and I can add fields of a whole bunch of other search criteria. Now, the warning here is if you set these criteria and then you go add boards, you're probably going to reset this to residential, and you're probably going to reset these as well. So always work, what MLSs am I talking to? Work top down. Because some boards don't have the same fields, and when they don't have the same fields, it can't put that search criteria out. So do your boards first. Do your type of property second. Move on from there, top down. So anyway, so then I'm looking at details, and I'm saying, all right, I didn't put a top price on this, and then do I want to search low to high, high to low? What am I looking for? And this is where you kind of go through and you look at things for your client. Does my client think this is a good, is this what my client's looking for? Is that my client's looking for? Or you send this out to them and you let them decide. So you're going to save search, name it, and then you're going to add contacts or save and add subscription. You can add your clients to this list. You can add you to this list, whatever you want, or you can save and add subscription. We're saving it. We're naming it something. We're adding contacts. We're deciding how often we get it. Email template if you want to make one. whatever. And then you hit save. And your client will get that email, and if you copy yourself, I advise you to copy yourself on all your emails. So your client says, "Hey, the email I just got," you can open up and look, because you can go over here to sent emails, my sent emails, and there's the last one I sent. So, hey, the email I just got, and you open it up. Oh, I see your email, and you can talk coherently about what they're talking about. And you can go through and have the conversations you need to have, and have the whatever you need to have, and be like all kinds of happy. So that's how you do a basic search. And when you do expireds, those are primarily for you, because here's where it diverts from wholesale to retail, realtor side. Wholesale. So expireds, we always want. Both sides wants expireds. But when you look at things that have already been marketed, and by the way, the conversation with expired, let me finish that real quick. So when you look at things that have already been, expireds, you're trying to do really quick. So let's say 108 Grove Street came up as expired on your expired list. And the first day you get your expired list isn't the day you care about, because it's going to send you expired to the last year. And you really care about the ones that just expired. Because if it expired a year ago and they haven't relisted, you can call them if you want, but who knows where they're at of their thought cycle. If you, how do I do this? How do I say this? If it just expired, so the first day your email is a year back, I kind of ignore it, because too much old crap's going to be there. The next day, you're getting what expired last night. And you want to look on the expired list, how long ago did it expire? And then you want to search it. And you want to see if that property is closed or pending or any other activities happening on that property. You want to open that up and see if anything else is happening. Basically, have they relisted? Because if they've already relisted, what's the point? So if it doesn't come up and it's not relisted, then you will look to the details to the owner. Okay, this was a bank one, so bad example, but okay. Owner has a name. We then will show you in Forewarn how to skip trace and find that owner and call the owner. Hey, Mr. Owner, I see your property just expired. Maybe a buyer, but I'm also a realtor. How can I help you? What happened? All of it is about being in their story. What does it happen to them? What does this mean to them? And from there, we can determine which way we play it. Probably we're throwing the thing back on the market. Same conversation if you're a licensed agent going after a FSBO. For sale by owner or Facebook marketed, something like that, is, hey, I see you're on Facebook with your property. I'm a licensed agent. Can I help you? Bring you more attention. Thick skin, most of them tell you to bleep off, but whatever. The point is, if you're licensed, you can go after things that are expired. You could also go after them if you're a wholesale. That's fine. If you're a licensed agent, you can go going after a FSBO or a Facebook marketer or an actively marketed property, okay, because you're not trying to bring it back on the market for less. The reason wholesale doesn't go after advertised properties is because if it's advertised at 100, the world's already hated it at 100. So we have to bring it back on like 70, 80. So it means we have to get it for 50, 60. As a licensed agent, we're offering to be a marketing agency for them. So we're saying, hey, we want to help you get your 120. So that's the conversation there. And you basically, this is how you set up general searches and kind of go from there. Any questions on that? All right. Hey, Dimitri, I'm just totally not hearing you, so I'm not sure what's going on.
You can't hear me still?
Okay, now I can. Okay, yeah. So I just want to make sure, like, I didn't not hear you asking a question.
Okay.
Now, the other thing I was showing before, when we version 1 of this today's disaster, is so we just got an offer on a property, and we need to present it to the seller. And so the way before you present to the seller, this is you received it from another agent. You received it from another agent. You what am I trying to say? You received it from another agent. You verified that the other agent has seen their proof of funds, whatever, and now it's ready to give to the seller. There's a calendar amount on the agreement of sale. On the standard agreement of sale, which is here, you'll have received, and somewhere down here, it'll have 2 dates that matter. It'll have, okay, so lots of things matter. Seller concessions. We need to know, are they asking for 5,000 in concessions? Are they asking for a commission? Closing cost assistance, buyer broker fee, anything. So their offer number is here, 100,000. What are they asking to come off that offer number? Paid to the buyer, paid to the buyer agent, paid to anyone besides the normal stuff. And somewhere down here is settlement and possession numbers and date and time of the essence. So written acceptance on or before. So when do they expect to close? When do they need a signature by? What's their financing like? Are they going cash, elected wage? You need to know all this to have a competent conversation with your seller. And you will send this to your seller and go through it with them. What's their mortgage commitment? Did they show you a mortgage commitment?
Steve, you're not sharing your screen.
Oh, damn it! I keep doing that. Okay, sorry. Thank you so much for reminding me. Wow. So, I now have the second screen. I keep forgetting to look at it. All right. Anyway, so 100,000 is our purchase price. What are my seller concessions? What are they asking for in buyer broker fee? What are they asking for in closing cost assistance? When do they expect to close? When do they need a signature by? When does their offer expire? Doesn't mean the deal dies. Like, I made an offer last week on a property out in Harvey Lake, and I had it expire the next day. Well, a week later, they call me back and they're still interested. So whatever. Reading over the whole contract. You're not reading any of it. You're reading all of it. So I'm skipping around. You want to know what their financing is. Are they cash? Are they whatever? What terms are they asking for financing? These aren't critical, but like, for example, I have a habit of when I make an offer, my loan amount has to be 100% of the purchase price, which will never happen. And my interest rate has to be 2 points lower than market, which will never happen. I know it's not going to happen. I'm not making my offer assuming magic. I'm giving myself an additional out. And so if you as the seller's agent see, hey, this guy's being stupid over here, you can say to your buyer, you can say to your seller, hey, listen, I'm not really sure this may not be the strongest offer only because they're playing games in here. So we would have to go back and counter that. Are they expecting, if your seller is not selling things based on the house being empty, but this calls for house being empty, conversation with your seller. You look over all of this, I'll be honest with you, but you then look here. What are they waiving and electing as far as inspections? What landmines does the seller expect? Or rather, what inspections matter? Like, if they waived everything, great, we're going straight to title. If they elected everything, okay, now we got to realize that they're going to bring in a bug guy. Mr. Seller, just be aware they're going to bring in a bug guy, and if there are problems found, they're going to ask for money off or repairs. they're going to bring an inspector in, and blah 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 blah. They're going to ask for money off or repairs. They're going to do whatever. So you want to be able to have that competent conversation with your seller. You then want to go into zip forms, which went somewhere. It was here. Oh, so sorry, I am in zip forms. Duh. You then want to look for the estimate of closing costs, which you'll add to here. And you will fill in the estimated closing costs. Brokers, so here's the asking price. The offer price, meaning who is the buyer? When is the settlement date? $4,750 broker fee, whatever you've contract negotiated. That's for both brokers. Okay. So if the buyer is asking to be included, you don't sign anything, by the way. You are not authorized to sign. A lot of buyer brokers will send over a commission agreement before they send over an offer and say, I want 3%. And I say, show me your offer and we'll decide if we're giving you 3%. Because what I give you, I'm not going to agree to give you 3% and find out you just made me an offer where there's no 3% left. Transfer tax, preparation of deed, always a couple $100. Transfer tax, 1 to 2% of the sale price, depending on where you're at. So in Troop, it's 1%. I always do it more. I do a little higher. I always go half a point up. If it's 2, it's 2.5. If it's 1, it's 1.5. Because there's always stupid filing fees. Now you're estimating here. You're not trying to be precise. Are they asking for a home warranty to be purchased? Are they asking for municipal service certifications? Property repairs? What are they asking for? Mortgage and taxes. You always throw in a number for mortgage and taxes for whatever you think their payoff might be, back taxes, whatever. But always not calculated. So you're putting in all the numbers here. So your seller then looks and says, hey, out of a $90,000 offer, I'm looking for, so they want 3%, so they want 2,700, so it's 5,500 in this deal, what I think this deal is. So there, my seller is now getting, and it's not EFU, and always make sure, that your forms are correct, because I switch brokers and I never switch this form. But then we submit this to the seller with the offer. And we call the seller and we have a conversation with the seller. We say, Mr. Seller, this is everything. This is what we got. We got an offer. This is how it looks. This is what it is. I think this, and you're giving advice, I think this is what, whatever. And you and I will talk about it if you're, if you feel so inclined. So that's how on-market paperwork, on-market searches, on-market whatever are done. Hopefully you saw enough of them. Here, any questions?
So this is
Okay.
only between
I can.
the
All right, let me find out why I can barely hear you. I'm max on volume.
Is this only the seller's contract?
Oh, okay. Sorry, say that again. It was coming out a different speaker. I'm not sure where that NF1 Pro is. All right, go ahead. Sorry. Say that again.
Is this coming out? Is this the seller's contract?
So the seller's agreement that the buyer's agent sent us is this one.
Okay.
Before we send this over to the seller, we write this one up and include it with it. Because here's the deal with this form is it's one thing to say to a seller, hey, we got an offer of $100,000. But you don't want them to decide on that without saying, hey, by the way, you're not walking away with $100,000. You're walking away with less than $100,000. And an important other one in here is property taxes, which I'm not seeing here. But transfer tax, home warranty. Oh, tax, property repairs, tax certifications. You always want to say, well, it's actually all in here: mortgage, liens, and taxes. I always assume half a year's taxes. Assume they're behind by half a year. Boom. So you want to give them. You want to say, listen, they're offering you 90 grand. If nothing is found on inspections, boom, you're walking away with 81.6. Now, back to the agreement of sale. If they elected inspections, they have the right to make a request for repairs or deductions. I literally had this conversation with someone who's making an offer on a flip I did. And she's like, we're going to have, it's FHA, we're going to be inspected, yada, yada, yada. I said, great. I said, but at this price, I said, I'm pretty much up against it as far as like, I don't know how much lower I can go. So like, basically just be aware you do all the inspections you want, but I may or may not be able to accommodate them at this price. So yeah. And then basically everything that they've described in here that might cost your seller money, like, what is that section over here? Concessions. Oh yeah. Closing cost assistance. A lot of FHA deals want 3% closing cost assistance, which is 3% off the purchase price. That has to come in here. You have to say seller concessions closing costs, $2,500. Whatever your deal is, whatever they're asking, you're taking everything from the agreement of sale and everything else and saying to the seller, all right, well, 90,000 sounds like a great offer, but just so you know, my estimate, title will make a final determining factor. If I'm wrong, it is not my fault. I am making an educated guess here. And it says in here somewhere, estimate. Estimated proceeds do not take into account seller's estimated cost stated above, best information available at signing. But you're saying, hey, you know what? 90 sounds like the number you wanted, but really you're walking out the door with 80, something like that. So, yeah. Was that where you were going with the question, or were you looking at something else?
Can you say it again? Your mic cut out.
Was that kind of where you were looking for the question, or was there something else you were looking at?
No, I just wanted to know what exactly I was looking at, because I didn't see the first slide you showed me.
Yeah, well, I pretty much redid the whole thing because really nothing got seen the first time. I totally crapped out. So this is what this is what the buyer's agent will give you as an offer. And then before you forward it over, it'll be signed, it'll have the disclosure signed or whatever. Before you forward it over to your seller, you include this document. Now, in the wholesale world, you may not deal with this. The documents are totally different. This is not like a apples to apples. But in the license world, and every state more or less has the same documents. They might look different, but they have the same documents. And yeah, so basically, but this is because we have a new agent who just got an offer in on property, and an offer came in. Now, in the case of that particular deal, the offer price is under what the seller told us they were willing to accept. It's way under the listing price. So we're just, will it go anywhere? Don't know. No idea. So
one more thing, if you're not too busy, the batch leads, we said we discussed last week that we was gonna go over it.
I'm sorry, say that again. What I heard batch leads. What else did you say?
I said the batch leads. We discussed that last week that we was gonna go over it this week.
Yeah, and I can okay, so you weren't on yesterday's call. Okay, so let me. I will send you out the link. It's on the YouTube channel. I mean, I'm happy to do it with you personally, but we did a pretty good training yesterday on batch leads.
All right.
I will send you that. Yeah, so I will send you that right now. We can talk about it later. And actually, Shad, who's pretty experienced with batch leads, was on their training. We have two new people who are pretty good on that. Let me go to the lives here. JV training, yeah, this one. So I will send you the link to this one.
All right. Thank you.
And that will go out to everybody. And all right, so I'll send you that, and then and you should have your login to Batch Leads and everything right now. I'm just checking a different email here real quick.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, cool. All right, so that's fine. So then, all right. So if no other questions. I mean, I realize I haven't seen anything from our listed guys aren't even on here, but I wanted to make sure we kept Wednesday as listing agent day. But yeah, so I guess that's it for now. If you want to give me a call, Dimitri, if you want to give me a call and go over anything or whatever, certainly can. Yeah, yesterday's training, which I just sent you, should be a pretty good detailed information on how to use Batch Leads. Also, by the way, we have several tools. We have Batch Leads for residential and small multifamily and like that. We have 1 more month of Crexi before I finally give up on that one because we're not really using that one. We have Tract IQ, which is self-storage only focused, and we have Land OS, which is for land. Don't want to have you go too spread wide, as far as but like if you have a specific focus, great. Also, geographically, we want to be clear that we work right now, and this is your license, you're Pennsylvania. That's where your license lives. You're unlicensed, you're doing other stuff, primarily Pennsylvania, Ohio. We are willing to follow you into a new market. If I know you're out in Long Island, New York. You want to sort of make that your universe. Great.
Albany and
yeah. Okay. But basically, what I'm saying is, what we're not really ready for is somebody saying we have one of our team members who's saying, last week was, hey, I found a thing in Oklahoma City. Hey, next, this week it was, I found a thing in Georgia. And it's like, okay, none of which he's not ready to research a market well enough to know where he wants to go into. And I said, so you kind of got to work with us as to why you want to be in a market, and you got to stay in that market because we're gonna learn Garfield, Ohio, and then we're gonna learn Georgia, and then we're gonna learn this. We're never gonna get anywhere. I mean, it's not saying we're never gonna get anywhere, but the point is, I believe there are lots of virtual wholesalers, but I believe that if you don't understand a market, what the hell business do you have doing a deal there? How do you know what's good? How do you know what's bad? How do you know what the prices should be? How do you know what the systems of closing are? So we're really encouraging people to say, we're really encouraging people to say, okay, these are the markets I want to work in. And for us right now, it's Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, and maybe some other. Now, commercial, self-storage, anywhere, don't care. Mobile home parks, anywhere, don't care. But for basic residential, we're trying to stay where we know. But we can talk about where else we want to learn, but that's the other thing I wanted to cover. All right, any other questions, guys?
Not a question, but I was gonna call you at 1:30 because I wanted to go over some things that I need help with being oriented with.
Yeah, 1:30, maybe 1:45, because I'm walking through a building. I think it's at 1:15. Let me just look at my.
All right, so I'll call you at 1:45. Is that a good time?
Yeah. Let me just check the time from my. The heck they're called. Showing time. So many different little buttons. Now, even off market, you are still dealing with sellers' disclosures. You are still dealing with actually 1:30 is okay because it's actually 2:00. The other one hasn't confirmed for me yet, so I'm actually in the other building at 2:00. So pretty much between now and 2:00 isn't bad. All right.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, man. Talk to you soon.
Bye bye.